Hello, hello, and welcome back. You are listening to Spill the Ranch with yours truly, Noelle Cheney, where I talk all things food, influencers, school, and celebrity to keep you up to date on the trends going on as well as food worthy of trying. I'm feeling very sweet and saucy on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday, and I can't wait to tell you why. You know, it truly feels so good to be back today. Like, it really does feel good, as it always does on Hump Day. I mean, who doesn't love Wednesday? We're halfway through the week. There's really no complaints here. I'm going to adjust my sweatshirt because I feel like I wear the same thing every week. Maybe I need to switch it up. Before I get to my sweet and saucy recap from the past week, I would just like to start by saying thank you to all who listen to or watch this podcast. We are a very small population. Although small, we are a very mighty population, I will say nonetheless. And I can't thank you enough for the support. If you like the podcast, please leave it a review on Spotify and spread the word to all of your friends. Thank you guys again for listening. It seriously means the world to me, and I love you. So thank you. All right, let's get to the reason why I am feeling so sweet, but also saucy today. I went wedding dress shopping this past weekend. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen the news. Like, you know what I'm about to say. But before I get into it, just some context for the weekend. My mom, my sister, and my fiance Zach's mom all flew into Kansas City since none of them live here. My mom still lives in Minneapolis, which is where I grew up. My sister lives in Chicago, and Zach's mom, Zach is from St. Louis. So they were all coming from out of town, and they all flew in to help me find the dress, and I was just so grateful that they were willing to travel here for that. So that was really, really sweet. And before I tell you about the actual shopping experience, I need to talk about the hosting experience. So this is really the first time that I've ever hosted multiple people staying in the place in which I live. So my mom has stayed with me once or twice, just for a couple days before, but I feel like it's different when you have one person just staying at your apartment. It's very different than when you have several different people staying in different rooms of your house. And so it was definitely a humbling experience. I will say that. Hosting people to stay at your house, it's exhausting. Like, you want to make sure everybody is really comfortable. You want to make sure everybody has what they need. They all have towels. They all have hand towels for when they're getting ready for bed. They have fresh sheets on the beds, that they all have enough pillows. Just all of those little things that you want to make sure that they have to be comfortable while staying in your home. And so even though it was a short weekend, it was just 3 nights, it was exhausting. I was in full host mode. Anytime somebody needs something, they ask me. So it was really fun kind of learning, being on my journey as a host. And I really enjoyed having them all stay here. It's so nice having a place where I can house multiple different people. I mean, we have 2 guest rooms plus a basement, and I bought a nice air mattress. So we have a lot of big couches and stuff. So we really can hold a lot of people here. But I wanted everything to be perfect. The day that they flew in, I was scrambling around, making sure everything was perfect, vacuuming every inch of the house. I wanted everything to be perfect because it was my mom's first time seeing the house. Zach's mom had been here a couple weeks ago. when his parents were helping us move some stuff. So she had seen it, but my mom and my sister had not seen it. So I really wanted everything to be perfect. And, everything worked out. And it's just so nice living somewhere where I can accommodate multiple guests at once. So yeah, I guess new word for me is hostess with the mostess. Yeah. So now on to the actual dress shopping. I had the best experience. I actually had made appointments for 4 different places. And we walked into the first place, which was referred to me by my cousin. My cousin got her wedding dress at this shop. And so I wouldn't have even known about it if it hadn't been for her, because I don't think I would have found it otherwise. So thank God she referred me there and, suggested for me to go there. I just knew when I walked into this place that I was going to find my dress there. I can't explain it. It was just this gut feeling. I walked in, I felt so comfortable. It was such a cute shop. It's called Bridal Extraordinaire. It's in Shawnee, Kansas, in one of the suburbs of Kansas City. And I don't know, I didn't fully expect that to happen. But as soon as I walked in, I was like, I think I'm going to find my dress here. I thought that to myself. We had such a sweet stylist. Her name was Angie, and she did such a great job. She actually was a former teacher, which I felt this connection with her. She was just so sweet. She did such a good job, helping me get in the dresses and explaining things to me because, it was my first time trying on dresses, and just helping me, helping me feel comfortable and confident in what I was trying on. So, and everybody else who, worked there, everybody was so nice. Do I have anything on my teeth? No. Okay, sorry. I thought I had something in my tooth. So yeah, it was just such a great experience at this place. They had the room that we were trying things on, they had this huge room, there was a dressing room off to the side, and then it was this big room with a bunch of mirrors and couches. And so there was plenty of room for my mom, my sister, and Zach's mom to sit and sip on champagne and, watch me come out and when I was trying on the dresses. And so, yeah, such a great experience. And, I had just never tried on dresses before. So if you are, newly engaged and going to try on dresses anytime soon, I guess this kind of gives you a little bit of insight of how my experience was. And now on to the dress. I'm not going to really talk about the dress itself because y'all are going to see that a year from now, okay? But nobody is going to see that dress for the next 12 months, which is so sad. I'm just itching to show someone. I can't wait for Zach to see me in it, but I'll probably show maybe a couple people, people who are really close to me, but I probably won't show more than that. But I can tell you that the dress that I ended up choosing, first of all, it was the second dress that I tried on. I probably tried on around 10 dresses total. And the second one I tried on was the one, and we knew right away. As soon as I got it on, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my God. And then I walked out to show everybody, and they all gasped. They could see that I was glowing. I was smiling so big. They saw what I saw. It was the perfect dress for me. It's such a gorgeous dress, you guys. I cannot wait to wear it on my wedding day. I can't wait to wear that thing all night long. I'm doing one dress. You guys, this is actually maybe a controversial opinion for me, but I don't see the point in wearing multiple dresses. I'm sorry. If I'm spending money on this beautiful dress for my wedding, you bet I'm wearing that all night long. I'm not changing out of it. The only reason I might change out of it, at the very end, is if after the reception we go somewhere, go out with our friends. Then I would think about a late night dress. But I'm not going to do a ceremony dress and a reception dress and a late night dress for the reception, and then another I don't need to do that. Like, I don't need more than one dress. This dress is my dress. I will wear it all night long. I'm going to feel like a princess, and it's going to be amazing. And that's just how I feel. So I found the dress. It's perfect. I love it so much. And it was such a fun experience going dress shopping. So I felt like a princess. You know, it's something that a lot of girls, or, you know, anybody really growing up and you know you want to get married, it's something you think about. And it's, maybe you don't think about it every day, but it's in the back of your mind. Like, oh, what is it going to be like when I go wedding dress shopping? And I felt like my dream had come true. Like, it was literally the best day ever, other than the day that Zach and I got engaged. Like, it was such a great day. We had such a good time. We were just smiling the whole time. And it was so great having, you know, the support system of my sister, my mom, and my future mother-in-law. Like, it was just perfect. So I couldn't have asked for anything better. But, you know, obviously I had 3 other appointments. And so that raised the question, do I go to these other appointments and risk maybe getting confused or finding a dress I like even more, or like what's going to happen? So basically, after I tried on the dress, I kept comparing every other dress after that to that dress. And so because I was doing that, I was like, I don't think I should go to any more stores, because I'm just going to compare everything to this dress. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to get confused. I'm going to just like be unhappy. I'm so happy with this dress. Why keep looking? So I canceled the rest of my appointments. And I felt bad about it. But like, then I realized, like, I mean, I guess I don't owe those stores anything, you know, like, but I was a little bummed, and I just felt bad that I made those appointments, and I didn't want to like waste anybody's time. But like, you know, I found the dress. What's a girl supposed to do, you know? So yeah, I canceled the rest of those appointments, and we ended up just having like a nice weekend. A little bit more chill. We were able to do more wedding stuff than we thought we were going to be able to do. We looked at stuff for like the rehearsal dinner, and, you know, we went and looked at the reception venue, because my sister and Zach's mom hadn't been there yet. And so, you know, we were just able to do more things. It was nice. It was a really, really nice weekend. And yeah, that took me a really long time to talk about. I hope you guys are still here. I have so much more to talk about today. Oh my goodness. So I started watching Vanderpump Rules season 1. I have never seen the show before. I've never even watched one episode. All I know about the show was the Scandival drama from last year. So I really went in blind, but I will be giving my thoughts about the show, season 1, during my celebrity gossip segment of this episode towards the end. So stay tuned for that. I also have my thoughts on the Summer House finale and what I think is going to happen on the reunion. So both of those will be during the celebrity gossip segment at the end of this episode. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited to talk about Vanderpump Rules. I can't believe it's taken me this long to watch it. So stay tuned for that. On Monday this week, I got up early to go for a run. And I was feeling so great for the first half of it, for about the first 2.5 miles. I had planned on going 4 miles. I got out there. The first mile or so, I was feeling great. I felt awesome. And then I had to go up this really big hill. And it's like hot here now. Like, it was quite humid. And so I don't do very well in heat. So, anyways, I was getting a little bit, I was getting a little tired around the 2.5 mile mark. I won't lie. But I fell. I was running and I wasn't paying attention, and I fell. I fell hard. I fell hard on my knee and on my hip and on my side, and I fell very hard. Yes, I fell, and I ripped up my knee, and I was so embarrassed. Like, like so embarrassing. Luckily it was in a neighborhood and I don't think anybody was like outside. There was nobody around me, so nobody saw it. But the embarrassment is still just like always worse than like the actual act of falling. I have had my fair share of falls. I've been running for most of my life, and so I have fallen many times while running. It just happens. It happens to the best of us. And I have had some pretty severe falls. This one was one of the more mild falls, I will say that. So I am lucky in that sense that this fall could have been worse. It really could have. But you know, it's still, it just takes a little bit out of you when you fall hard. And here's the thing. I got back up and I said, F it. I'm going to finish this run. I have a 1.5 miles left. We'll just go slow. Slow and steady wins the race, and we'll just finish this run. So I did that. I finished it. I was running so slow because it was so hot outside. It was sunny. I didn't have my sunglasses. I felt like crap. My knee hurt. I was like bleeding. But you know what? We finished, and then I walked 2 miles afterwards, which may have been overkill, but honestly, like, I knew that today I was probably going to be a little sore on my knee, and I was right. I was a little bit sore, and I knew that I wasn't going to want to run and possibly not walk today. I did end up walking today, on Tuesday. I mean, I'm filming this on Tuesday. It'll be posted on Wednesday. Anyways, so yeah, that was embarrassing. Kind of a rocky start to the week, one might say. I'm going to talk about 2 falls that I've had. Both happened while I was in college. The first one was when I was a freshman in college. I was running by myself. And I was running around campus, and I was in one of the neighborhoods that's kind of like off of campus. And a lot of the neighborhoods in Lawrence, Kansas, I went to KU, University of Kansas, which is in a city called Lawrence, Kansas. And in Lawrence, it's an old city. And so there are several neighborhoods and streets that have cobblestone. And so I was running on the cobblestone sidewalk, and obviously like cobblestone, especially when it's old, it's like really uneven. And I fell really hard, really, really hard. Like I was sitting there, I was crying, and I was in front of some lady's house, and she saw me fall, and she saw that I was clearly in pain and struggling. And she invited me into her house, or maybe it was just like up to her deck or something. And she was like, here, like we can wash this off, and I have Band-Aids for you. It was seriously so sweet. Just the kindness of people, like, is just always, you know, it goes a long way. The second time, and this was when I was maybe like a sophomore in college, so maybe like a year later or something, I was in Florida at my family's condo, and I usually like run or walk a lot when I'm in Florida, and just because obviously like the weather is so nice, and I always go in the winter. And I was running on a really busy street. I was on the sidewalk, but really, really insanely busy street, like so busy. And of course, I tripped and fell, as I always do. And this was definitely the most embarrassing one, because so many people would have saw this. Like so many people saw me fall. But luckily I was really, really close to a CVS, and I was bleeding a lot. So I was able to like run in there and clean off and then walk home. I was only like a mile away from our condo. So that was another embarrassing time. So those were all my falls. I have fallen many times while running. If you're a runner, you've probably fallen too. It happens. And it's always embarrassing. And yeah, it is a little bit painful, but usually the embarrassment is worse than the actual fall, unfortunately. All right, I think we are properly caught up from the past week now that we're at the middle of this week. So let's get into our segments: food, school, influencers, and celebs. We always, always, always start with the meal of the week and the woat of the week. This is a segment where I talk about some of the foods that I am loving from the past week, and then I also talk about the foods that I am hating from the past week. Typically the foods that I hate are foods that I will always hate. These aren't a lot of times these aren't necessarily new things. And this week I will say the woat of the week is one that I would have never expected myself to talk about. And I'm a little embarrassed actually to talk about it. And I'm a little scared of the hate I may get for talking about this, because it is a little bit of a hot take. So let's get into it. As always, I'm going to start with my meal of the week. So for a while, every single time, and first of all, my meal of the week is Chipotle. Chipotle is back in my world. For a while, every time I got Chipotle, it was never very good. It was never bad, but it was never awesome. It was never as good as I was hoping it was going to be. And I think that's because I ordered it ahead of time, on the app, and then I would just go pick it up. So I didn't actually get to see it get made in front of me. And I think that was my problem. And if you know the lore of my life from the past year on TikTok, you will know I've had some issues ordering food online, and that's a story for another day. But earlier this week, I decided to get Chipotle for lunch. It just sounded really good. And so there's a Chipotle near our house. I mean, there's Chipotles everywhere nowadays. But I went to the Chipotle. It wasn't even busy. It was noon first. It was 12:30 in the afternoon. And it was not busy. I thought it was going to be really busy. And thankfully it wasn't. There was no line. It was fabulous. So I walk up there, they make it in front of me. They didn't really put enough rice on there. I said, could you put some more rice on? And they did, of course. And I had it made in front of me. And I went home and I tasted it. And the first bite, oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so delicious. I can't even tell you the joy I felt as soon as I tasted the first bite. I don't know what it is about the Chipotle rice and the corn and their sour cream, but it always just tastes better at Chipotle. I don't know what it is. It's just so good. I don't even know what that noise I just did was. So yeah, my meal of the week is Chipotle. In other news about Chipotle, apparently the CEO of Chipotle has gone on record saying all you have to do to get the extra rice or the extra meat in your bowl is just sort of do a little disappointed head nod when they're making it, and they'll make it good for you. Literally, there's a video that he made, and he was it was talking about how there's this rumor going around that if you take your phone out while Chipotle is making your burrito bowl, that the employee will make it, they'll fill it to the brim basically. And if your phone wasn't out, then they wouldn't. And the CEO was trying to basically combat that and, shut down that rumor by saying, no, our employees, they will do whatever you ask them. You just have to ask them to, put more rice in or put a little bit more chicken in, or, a little less sour, whatever it is. And so that was kind of funny that was came across my desk this week or last week maybe. So yeah, Chipotle is the meal of the week. Let's move on to the woat of the week. And this is a hot take. I'm very aware that this is a hot take. I'm a little scared to talk about it. Maybe that means I shouldn't. And I would like to give a disclaimer saying I'm completely aware that this is a me thing. Most people would not care about this. But jalapeños are my woat of the week this week, and they will not be my woat of the week every week. I go through phases with jalapeños. I actually really love jalapeno flavored things, But when it comes to eating like an actual jalapeno, it's usually too hot for me, and I have really like lame taste buds. I wish I could just like eat jalapenos, but they are pretty spicy for me when you eat them like whole with all the seeds and stuff. If you take the seeds out and like cut it, like chop it up into really fine pieces and put it like in a guacamole or in a salsa, I think it's really good. But like eating it as a whole is hard for me because it's like really spicy for me. So the reason it's my woe of the week is, and this is like, I was kind of struggling to come up with a woe of the week. I won't lie. Like, this is like really reaching. But we were at this fabulous restaurant on the plaza in Kansas City. It's actually one of my favorite restaurants in Kansas City. And so in this, what I'm about to say does not change that. It's a really, really fabulous restaurant. They have fabulous food. Great vibes, great drinks, everything. I love this restaurant. But we ordered this flatbread from I think it was from their happy hour menu. And it was like chicken, jalapeno, and something else. And it was a really good flatbread. But it had like whole jalapenos, like whole chopped jalapenos on it. And like, I would take a bite with like the whole jalapeno in the bite. And it was like so spicy. It was like making me cough, and like I couldn't stop coughing. So like that's the reason it's the woe of the week. But I just took the jalapenos off after that first bite. I was like, it's too spicy for me. I just took the jalapenos off, and it was still a really, really good flatbread. Like, I have nothing against the flatbread. I have nothing against the restaurant. It was a fabulous restaurant. But if I had to choose a woe of the week, it was the jalapenos that were making me cough. I'm sorry. I couldn't come up with anything else. Anyways, so that's my woe of the week. Jalapenos, I guess. Let's move on to our next segment, which is my school anecdote of the week. Okay. So I'm doing a segment on my next week's episode. Next week's episode is going to be a little bit different. I had people send in to me like crazy stories from school or like teaching or when you were in school or whatever. And so I'm going to be sharing some of those stories. And I was shared a story that reminded me of a time when I was in high school. And it is a crazy story. And it's not even about me. We had, and I'm sure a lot of other high schools have this, but we had a phantom pooper. So to give some context about my high school, I went to school in Minnesota. I went to a pretty large high school. We had over 3,000 students at the time. I think now my high school that I went to has like over 3,500 students. So pretty big high school. We had like 700 to 800 people per class, per grade. And so obviously like our school building was pretty large too because we had so many people. And there were tons of different bathrooms throughout the school. And there was this one specific bathroom that got smeared, like the walls were smeared with poop. And this happened on multiple occasions. And for a while, everyone was trying to figure out who is the phantom pooper. It was like the phantom pooper because nobody knew who was doing it. It was in the boys' bathroom. So we were pretty sure it was a guy because, let's be real, like, a girl would not do that. Come on. So yeah, it was this phantom pooper, and it kind of like took over, like, I want to say like many months until word got out about who it was, allegedly. I don't know if I ever found out like for sure who it was, but we found out allegedly who had done it. It was a guy who was like a year older than me. I didn't know him. But like, this leads me to a bigger conversation. Why would a high schooler do that? Why would a teenager who's like 17 or 18, like, what motivates somebody to do something like that? And it also leads to the bigger issue of teenagers doing stupid things. Like, teenagers seriously need to get it together. As somebody who teaches them every day, why do they make dumb decisions? And you know what? I'm going to answer that. It's because they're young and they don't have a lot of experience in life yet. So obviously, it's going to happen. You have to make dumb decisions to learn from those dumb decisions and, you know, become a better person. But so obviously that's the answer. But it's just like crazy to think about the crazy things that teenagers, like with their full chest, things that they do. Like, and they think they're so cool and so funny when they do things. And they think, oh, I'm bored. I'm going to go vandalize something. Like, why is vandalism like their go-to? I don't know. It's tale as old as time. I feel like teenagers have always been like this. They always will be like this. And it will never change because teenagers, they have to learn somehow, I guess. I don't know. They just, with their full chest, like they just do the most embarrassing, craziest stuff. They really do. It's crazy. So yeah, Phantom Pooper, that is my anecdote, my school anecdote of the week. So it's a little bit of my experience as a student. I think a lot of people on my platforms when I post videos about teaching and, you know, people will leave hate comments about how terrible of a teacher I am and of how awful of a person I am. And I think a lot of times people forget, like, I was literally a student like 10, 11 years ago in high school. So, like, it's not to say that I've never been in their shoes. In fact, I have been in their shoes. I have experienced, you know, not getting along with a teacher. I have experienced, you know, being angry that a teacher gave me a B instead of an A. I've experienced all of those things, and yet I never was disrespectful to my teachers. Not once, not ever. So, not on purpose, at least. So, yeah. Anyways, people forget that I was a teenager too. I've been in their shoes. So, anyways, I wasn't really going anywhere else with that. Let's move on to our next segment of the week. We are just rolling through these today. I feel like we're just like going. We're just going and going and going. But we're already to our influencer stories of the week. And this particular topic is about Alex Earl and Xandra. They both walked in the Sports Illustrated swim fashion show. And before I get into this segment, I want to start off by saying that I started following them separately and I didn't even know they were friends when I started following both of them. Like, I guess it would have been like a year and a half ago or whatever, like 2022. And I just really liked their vibes. I specifically really liked Xandra's vibe because she was so like, I don't know, she just posted like really funny videos when I guess they both kind of they have like a similar style video. But I think I started following Xandra first and then Alex Earl after. But I'm having like acid reflux or something. But I didn't know they were friends at first. And then I realized that like they knew each other. Anyways, so I liked them both as TikTokers. I've been following them for a long time and, you know, watching their videos for a really long time. And they both walked in the Sports Illustrated swim fashion show. Before I get into this, if you do not know who Alex Earl and Xandra are, they both graduated from the University of Miami last year in 2023. And they both started posting during their senior year of college. They both started posting get ready with me videos on TikTok and both kind of blew up, and they've both, you know, turned that into a career. And Alex Earl has really popped off. She's very, very famous. Most Gen Z and younger know who she is. And then Xandra, she has also done really well in her career. She is a DJ and she has been popping off, DJing in so many cool places. So they both started out on TikTok and now have kind of transformed, you know, their TikTok into their career. And so they're both very pretty. They're both blonde. They both have like the party girl kind of vibe. So that's who they are. I would be lying if I said I wasn't interested about what happened between the two of them, because they were, we all thought they were friends. They like even went to abroad together last year with their group of college friends. So I would be interested to know, but at the same time, it's like none of my business. It could have easily been that they were just like party friends, you know, like college friends. Like maybe they weren't best friends with each other, but like they had the same group of friends. And sometimes after college, when you're not seeing people every day, you just like you don't see them anymore. Like unless you have like a real friendship foundation, sometimes you just don't stay in touch, and sometimes that happens. So maybe nothing happened between the two of them. We don't really know. Neither of them have really spoken about it, I don't think. So anyways, I believe Xandra was on, she's rookie of the year this year. So she, I think, got a cover. And then Alex, about a week ago, revealed that she is on their digital cover, and they both walked in the swim fashion show. And so everybody's like going nuts because they are no longer friends, allegedly, but they were, you know, in the same room walking the same runway this past weekend. And it's interesting because so many influencers are taking over the fashion world these days. And I really do see why, because they are the ones who have influence over, you know, a lot of consumers. And so I understand why. It's just like so funny to see these influencers. They're not models. They're gorgeous and they look fabulous in pictures. But like they're not real models either. So like, I don't know, it's just interesting to see that they are the ones who are getting the covers now and the a lot of the press and when it comes to fashion. So it's just interesting to see that like trend of like where things are going. But again, I really see why, because they have a lot of influence over a lot of people. So it makes sense as to why brands want them like as the face of their brand. Let's get into Alex's little sisters walking with her. So Alex and then her younger sister Ashton, who's in college, and I think Ashton's like 21. And then they're the two of their younger sisters who look to be around like 10. So they're young. And I have spoken about, you know, my thoughts on kids being on social media before, so I'm not going to really rehash that. Obviously, it just doesn't sit right with me. And them walking in a fashion show is not a big deal. But the fact that it's the Sports Illustrated fashion show and like knowing the audience of Sports Illustrated, I think people forget the target audience of Sports Illustrated. And that is grown men. So it's just an interesting choice to have them walk in this swimsuit fashion show being so young. I don't know, that goes back to like kind of what I said last week. I mean, their parents, if their parents are okay with it and they're okay with it, I mean, do what's best for your family. But again, just may not really sit right with me. So yeah, and that's not me judging. That's just me like giving my opinion on, you know, should young children be walking in a fashion show that's about swimsuits and with that as grown men as the target audience? I don't know. So that's maybe my controversial take of the day. At the end of the day, Alex and Xandra both looked fabulous in this fashion show, and I've been a fan of both of theirs for a long time, and it's really cool when you have been following somebody kind of from the beginning and you see them like turn their career like into something big. It is really, really cool when you kind of follow along with them on that journey. And so hopefully what I said about the little sisters doesn't, you know, change the fact that I think it's very cool for them, and it's a very cool thing, and they looked great. Moving on to my next thing, and I was listening to another podcast actually today, and it made me think of this topic. what happened to the Hype House? It has been so long since I've even thought of the Hype House. Do you guys even remember that? Like the Hype House with like Addison Rae and Charlie D'Amelio and Bryce Hall, and like that was like coming up on 4 years ago now. And like the fact that they all got so famous so fast, and now there's like no Hype House, or maybe there is, I wouldn't know because I don't see it. I don't know if they even post videos anymore. So like what happened to them? It's crazy, like, and kind of scary, like how fast you can get famous and then how quickly you can like become irrelevant. And I guess that's just like this world of content creation. You can get built up so quickly and just as quickly be torn down. And not necessarily torn down, but like it's hard to sometimes stay relevant. And even I like struggle with that in my own platforms. So yeah, I just thought about it and I was like, what happened to them? So if you have any information about the Hype House and its current state, let me know, because I'd be interested to know. Moving on to our last segment of this week, I cannot wait to share with you my thoughts about the Summer House finale and just my thoughts about it, as well as my thoughts on the first season of Vanderpump Rules. So let's start with Summer House. If you don't know what the show Summer House is it is a reality TV show on Bravo, and it is about a group of adults who live in New York, and in the summer they have this house that they all go stay in over the weekends with the same group of people each weekend. So they live in New York during the week, and then on the weekends they drive to the Hamptons and they stay in that Hamptons house together. And it's about 10 people, and most of these people are like in their late 20s or 30s. And this show has been going on for like 8 seasons, and the season 8 finale was last Thursday. And hopefully this reaches the right audience. Like, hopefully you have also seen it, but there's a couple on the show named Lindsay and Carl, and they have both been on the show since the very first season. So they've known each other for a very long time. In the summer of 2022, they got engaged after having dated for about a year, and they had known each other for like 6 years at that point. And so this past season, so this would have been in the summer of 2023, but we're just seeing it now because it's airing now. But they were engaged this whole season, and at the very end, they broke up. And I would have never, ever thought that I would be a Lindsay, like Team Lindsay. I'm not really Team anybody, but like if I had to choose, it'd be Lindsay for this season. Now, I am not saying that I have forgotten the things she has said and done in the past seasons, because she's been crazy. Like if you watch all of the seasons, you know what I'm talking about. Like, she is not always an easy person to get along with. But Carl knew that going into this relationship with her. And so he should have known, he knew who she was. Like, he knows who she is as a person. And still proposed to her and then broke her heart. And I don't know. I'm not saying that she was completely blindsided. That's what she said. I don't think she was blindsided. They were fighting all summer. But at the same time, I think he could have handled it better. So I'm unofficially Team Lindsay, because I think she held it together really well this season. Like, she got along with all the girls. She didn't really pick fights with Carl. He was the one picking fights with her. And so I will give her brownie points for keeping it together and like being like pretty chill this season. But she's been crazy on past seasons. Like, if you go watch them, you'll know what I mean. But I will say Paige, Amanda, and Sierra brought up some good points as well. Like, they're like, we know Lindsay, like, she can spin things in her favor and make her look like the victim. And, you know, I can see what they're saying there. So I would listen to what they have to say. Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts. I'm really excited for the reunion. I think it's going to be filled with drama. I'm just excited to like see Lindsay and Carl like speak to each other, because like we haven't, like, from what I know, I don't even know like if before the reunion they had seen each other at all really since the breakup. So that'll be really interesting to see. Now let's move on to the final portion of this podcast, which is my thoughts on season 1 of Vanderpump Rules. So sorry, this like, oh my gosh, ow, these are hurting my ears. Okay, so Vanderpump Rules. I have never seen it in my life. I've never watched one episode. I didn't really even know what it was about. So I've never seen the show in my life. All I knew about the drama, or all I knew about the show, was the drama from last year between Rachel, or Raquel, whatever her name is, Ariana, and Tom Sandoval. So if you've never watched the show, basically like from the first season, it surrounds Lisa Vanderpump and her restaurant called Sir, this restaurant she owns in Beverly Hills, or maybe it's in Hollywood, in LA. And the show is about, it's a reality TV show on Bravo, and it's about several of the servers and bartenders who work at her restaurant. And so that's who like the cast members are. And so far I've watched like 6 episodes and I like it more than I thought. I'm not a big fan of like LA in general. I typically like things on the East Coast a little bit more, like Summer House or like The Real Housewives of New York. But I definitely I'm interested in the show. I like the drama. They are so young. Like, to see them, a lot of these cast members now versus in 2013 or whatever year it was when they started this whole thing, like, they look so young. And the main reason I really wanted to watch it is so I can keep up with pop culture, because people talk about this show all the time. All my friends watch it. So I really, maybe not all of my friends, but I have several friends who watch it. So I'm watching it. So far, Stassi kind of sucks. She's such a drama queen. I know I'm supposed to like her, and I have a feeling I will like her. But at the beginning, in season 1, like, she is kind of insufferable. But I think she's going to get better. Let me know about that. I know she's on the show for like 8 seasons. Jax and Sandoval, they are both also main cast members. It's just interesting, like, seeing all of the stuff that I saw about Sandoval this past year, and then seeing him on the show before he was dating Ariana. So I'm just interested to see, like, how his whole character arc plays out. Not that he's a character. I mean, he's himself. It's a reality show. But him and Jax just really give off, like, jerk energy. I don't know. And then I am interested to see how Sandoval and Ariana get together, because in episode 5 of season 1, Ariana is a background dancer for Sheena. And so I wonder if that's how she gets introduced to the whole group. I'm assuming that's how. I don't know. But it's just kind of weird because she's not in season 1, but she was a background dancer for Sheena when Sheena was like doing a performance of her, one of her songs. So that was really interesting to see, considering, like, I know Ariana is like a main character. I don't know when she comes into the show. So yeah, so far I'm liking it. I'll probably finish season 1 this week. There's only 10 episodes in season 1. So loving that for me. And I think that's about it for this Saucy Wednesday. Wow, I've been recording for like almost 50 minutes. That's a record for me. Today was certainly filled with lots of talk about, what am I trying to say? It was filled with lots of recaps and thoughts, and we had lots to talk about today. And so I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. And next week's episode will likely be a little different, a little bit shorter, because I'm going to be sharing stories and sharing, I think I'm sharing advice and stories that you guys direct messaged me. And I will be recording it right after this, because I will be on vacation all of next week in Tennessee with Zach's family. So I'm going to be evaluating some of your craziest teaching and school stories and giving advice to those who asked on my Instagram. I highly recommend for you to follow both my Spill the Ranch Instagram as well as my personal Instagram, which is Noelle of Sloths, and then the Spill the Ranch Instagram. Definitely go follow both of those. I give updates on both of those pages. I hope you all have a very fabulous rest of your week and a very saucy weekend, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.